And they have random ID numbers, and I mean the serial ID numbers, and it was always terrible to work with. You found it easy to work with?
Oh yeah, I am.
Is that the new testing survey?
I used the beta one, yeah, and now it's.
Maybe that
I think
might be
it's
the way
the
back.
only option now, but yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
It worked wonderful. And,
Terrible. Okay, I'd be interested to see that.
yeah. So let me show you just some data. Here's some data from the semester exam, just to show you, and that the individual and the team exam is from quite a while ago, but you can see the average difference in their percentage of their individual versus team score is about 20 percentage points. That's been true no matter the level, no matter the course. Whenever I've used this model, and I always use this particular exam model.
So who was it that made the suggestion that the individuals should be weighted heavier?
My
Did
students,
the students ask that?
the students said there needs to be more individual accountability.
Or did they, I mean, is that just they were altruistic? I wasn't sure
They're
why.
competitive.
That's
They're
why.
competitive.
It's just who they are.
So, of course, that's probably made by the ones that were getting the really high.
Right,
Thought they were
because
carrying their
it
team,
sounds like a
right?
terrible idea. You know?
But yeah. So, but I think it's very this, and this data is from when it was 50-50, and I think that it has ramped up the preparation by individuals. The other thing that's changed, and you can see that as you go from the first exam to the fourth exam, that the performance gets better. So they're learning, as evidenced by the exam. In fact, here's the combined exam scores about case-based, how to think in a case-based learning environment, how to work in a team environment, and their scores get better. I've been teaching in the Learn Lab. I taught there for the first time in the fall, and I am so excited about the data that I got from my class with respect to exams. That where you see in this one, the difference stays the same between the individual and the team. As I went throughout the semester in the fall, it narrowed to the point where the difference is only around 10% at on the last exam. So I don't know what it's like. I don't know, but I'm excited about it because I think that what I love about that classroom, and that's why I'm really big on physical space, is that everybody can see everybody. And it doesn't take as long for the classroom to become a very, very interactive, very sharing environment versus, because it's set that, the environment, it just facilitates that. Where others, it takes many more weeks to get that kind of where you have a hard time reining everybody back in.
What room are you talking about?
Learn Lab here, yeah, room 150. Yeah, it's great, and I'm teaching my topics class in there, and it's great. The drawback, of course, is that it holds 60. But if you are, there's a new classroom in the student building that is going to come online in a year from the spring, and so 2013, and it will hold 120.
Pausing for a second, Charles, you had a
I
question?
had a question about the next slide, which was the test scores between the different exams showing improvement over time. Is this also the capstone course
This is the capstone course, yeah. So, and I share this data. The other thing I think is really important is to share the data with your students. So I share this with them at the beginning. Actually, I just got done doing that class today. So I kind of staged my revealing components about learning and what I've learned from the past, so that it helps them to understand, especially as you're going to come into the first exam. They look at this, they have this on their slides, and they're like, oh my God, the exam score was a 65, or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask him. And is this course repeated in the spring semester? If students have this concern that they won't ever recover from the 65? Or?
So, and that's the other thing, a lot of points. I believe that in a team-based learning environment, more so than in any other environment, that you need to have a lot of points. And that the exams are relative, let's see, they make up, when I have a comprehensive final, they make up about only a quarter of the grade. So So it's distributed over, you can't, if you're not good at one thing, you can be good at something else and still do really well in the class and demonstrate your knowledge in another aspect of the class.
Do they ever say that you're giving too much work based on your load? For example, based on all other classes I take, I'm putting so much time into this one. You're acting like I don't have any other classes.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's known that this class is a lot of work. It's
Okay.
a 4 credit hour, 400 level class.
Lab
So.
class, yeah.
But this class is probably the class I'm most passionate about because I feel like I'm making a difference, and the students tell me that this was the class they worked the hardest in, but the class they learned the most in. And the one thing that I share with them is that what you do with your knowledge is the most important thing. And in my class, being able to use your knowledge to help those who you love and care for with respect to healthcare is what I hope you'll be able to do. You'll go on to your other professional studies and you will build on this knowledge. But immediately, I want you to be able to do that. And the stories that my students share with me, I mean, it's just, I'm privileged to be able to teach them. And I think that while they work really hard, that I deeply respect them, and so they know that at the end, that for the most part they think, I mean not all, but for the most part they think he was worth it. And I don't get any whining, and I don't even actually get any whining in my 1-hour level class, but it doesn't have as much, quite as much work. So I think that they might whine amongst themselves. Certainly, I hope they do, because that's kind of what's good about a group kind of shared.
But they also know you maybe one of the references for articles.
Well, I ran over 100 of them a year.
I know,
so
so that's
yeah.
why they don't like you.
But yeah. So things I'm learning, I'm asking my students now, I'm using those e-charts. I'm really trying to understand how they're learning in their teams through documented problem solving in class, looking at their e-charts, those electronic portfolios, and looking at the review process to kind of reveal to me really how they're learning. And I'd like to continue to look at my students once they enter into professional school and see what do they actually take away from this, and then when they're transplanted into a different learning environment, and what do they do with it?
I do want to say, I got to interview Leah's students in this past semester. Her students were so excited about the teamwork that they did. They had to make a museum exhibit. What does the average American need to know about the Crusades? And they had to post it in the IMU at Starbucks for the exam week, for the whole exam week. It was up there. And so I interviewed a student about it. He said that at first he thought it was a daunting task and he couldn't see how they were going to do it. By the end, during the class, he said they were at each other's houses so much. There was this real team-based learning. They had to be at each other's houses. They had all these hard deadlines for these materials they had to produce so the exhibit would go up on time. That they just had to kind of live at each other's houses. And his only regret about the course is that he can't do it again because he made such strong friendships. And also that there was a lot of diversity in the course and that he wasn't really used to it. And at first he said, he learned now that at first he could say, he said it's from Indiana, he could say kind of crude things to people that were different from him. He learned over time he better think before he opened his mouth. And that was really different because there was a lot of diversity in that class. Which is, all the things you want.